What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, I was sitting here thinking, I'm watching some fights, and I'm going to get into something else. But I was sitting here watching some fights, and I noticed, right, you haven't been hearing a lot of talk about the face of boxing anymore, right? And then I was reading this article, and I watched a particular video where they were talking about who's the face of boxing, right? Someone said something that I've been saying, just not on camera so much, because it's like, it's not about debating. I don't care about what people's opinions are, but you got to have common sense, right? When you say things, make sense. And they were talking about the face of boxing. And I started seeing these people talking about, oh, it's Canelo, it's Canelo. So I thought, and I'm like, well, are you saying that Canelo's the face of boxing still because of his commercial success? I mean, Anthony Joshua's stock has fallen. He's not the superstar he used to be. But he still has a lot of commercial success. Right? You are calling someone the face of boxing based on what? Terrence Crawford is seen as pound for pound the best boxer. We still want to see the fights to know that that's true, that he can beat. No, can you beat these guys? The Errol Spencers, the Boots Anderson, can you beat these guys, right? But he doesn't nearly have the popularity that Canelo has had. We just seen Canelo get his ass whooped by Bivol. He said he's going to fight Bivol only if he wins his rematch. I mean, his fight with Ramirez, or the guy that he fought. Well, he won. He won, didn't he? And what did Canelo do? He fought Triple G. Since he's fought Triple G, have you heard Canelo mention Bivol's name? So I think right now, the best thing to do as far as the face of boxing is stop talking about that until we can legitimately get someone that we can call the face of boxing, if it's even necessary to do so. But how, and may I add, Canelo, in my opinion, did not look good against a washed up Triple G. He couldn't get a washed up Triple G out of there. Then he said, oh, he hurt his hand, and okay. Tank Davis hurt his hand against Pitbull Cruz, took his glove off, and you could see that one hand was clearly way bigger than the other. And people say, well, boxers fight all the time with injuries. Yes, we do. But guess what? If it doesn't work for one, it doesn't work for the other. You understand what I'm saying? I might have to get surgery. Have you heard anything about his surgery? Have you heard any talks about? No. Just saying, right? Just saying. Yet you got a guy in Devin Haney who is a champion. Undisputed, but he is the one hunting the fighters in his division instead of them hunting him. And the stupid excuses, oh, he's a boring fighter, all this nonsense, nobody cares about that. Devin Haney, you believe that if you want to. You know, no matter how talented fighters are, when you're doing sucker shit, you got to get called out. You mean to tell me this guy's so boring? Well, put the nail in his coffin, go take his titles, and you become undisputed. Oh, belts don't mean nothing in this era. Now everybody's talking like a casual. So basically, the title doesn't mean anything. Yet you demand more money. You think that your stock has risen based on commercial success. And then pretty much, if you don't want to fight for undisputed, what are you boxing for if you don't want to be a champion? You don't want to be the champion, the best champion. I mean, think about this. Through all of this talk about Jerron Boots Ennis being a top prospect, which he is, Virgil Ortiz. Everybody went, oh, but he offered this and he offered that and he, okay. Let me tell you the one offer people are not talking about. Okay? The flip side to it. For everybody that talks about Boots not being ready for Crawford or for Spence, Virgil Ortiz not being ready for Crawford or for Spence, for Conor Benn not being ready for Crawford or for Spence. And I asked the question a million times, Well, who in the fuck else in the division do you see that's worthy of a title shot, if not them? Who the fuck else in the division is better than those three? Who? Everybody shut up because they can't come back with nothing. I'm not asking you to name another fighter's name that you know. I'm talking who's worthy. Who do you think could beat Spence or Crawford, if not those three? Right? Okay. So, this is the flip side of what they're not looking at. So, okay, Virgil Ortiz, he turned the fight down because of blah, blah, blah. Okay. Keith Thurman said he wanted $10 million, right? So, knowing he's not going to get $10 million, he decides no. Now, here's the flip side. He turns down, okay? You guys are saying Boots is not ready. Virgil Ortiz is not ready. Conor Bennett's not ready. All this blah, blah, blah. We know Conor's situation, but I have to put his name in there because he is one of the top guys at 147. But this motherfucker, Keith Thurman, for him to turn down $10 million, to want $10 million, so he overpriced himself. He knew he wasn't going to get $10 million. Okay, and even if he said, let's give it a shot, they decided, nah, we're not giving you $10 million. You're not worth that, right? He, instead of saying, fuck it, give me $5. What did you make against, in your last fight? What did you make against Pacquiao, right? Think about that, right? So, in boxing, they've always been saying you're worth your last, what you made in your last fight, right? Okay, so instead of him fighting Terrence Crawford for his title, he'd rather go up to 154 and fight Errol Spence for no title. Instead of fighting Errol Spence at 147 for unification. What in the natural fuck sense does it make for you to go to 154 to fight a guy for no title? Keith Thurman was the guy who said years ago, I'm a welterweight. This is my division. I'm not going up in weight or down in weight ever. This is where I'm staying, 147. Did he not say that? Yes, he did. So, no title on the line, but you're going to go to 154 to fight Spence for what fucking reason? Then on top of that, he's not getting no 10 fucking million for that fight. There's no titles involved on top of that. So you wouldn't fight Terrence Crawford for his belt because they wouldn't give you 10. You're going to go to 154 and fight Errol Spence for no belt, and they're not going to give you 10. Now, let's say he's going to get a little more than what he was going to make against Crawford, right? Fighting Spence. Let's just say, but he's not getting that 10. Where's the hunger? Where's that desire? I'm still the best welterweight in this division. You guys still haven't seen the best Keith. This is why I say Keith is delusional with that shit. You're not getting any younger. So I guess all in one night, all one fell swoop, we're going to see the fucking unbeatable Keith Thurman against who? So we talk about the face of boxing. There's too much controversial decisions, things going on, too much controversy surrounding all of these so-called elite fighters. It's just too much. We can't even get an actual reason as to why you can't get Spence versus Crawford, Ryan versus Tank. You can't even get Wilder versus Joshua. Why we can't get these fights? There's no reason. It's just too much every time. You saw a video, Joseph Parker. I didn't watch that video, but the thumbnail said Joseph Parker was saying that they sent out a contract for a rematch against AJ, right? Nobody really cares about that. And basically, Joseph Parker, after he got destroyed by Joe Joyce, I don't know the route he's going to take, but it's always a lot of finger pointing going on, and it's just too much bullshit. Nobody can actually be man enough to just say, this is what's going on, this is where you are. This is what I would do. Coaches, trainers, you can't tell me shit. I'm going to say what the truth is. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat the shit and hide it. Now, I'm not going to speak on behalf of another fighter to say what his or her business is outside of the ring, that may be causing the fight to not happen. But let's just be real. If you can say, I want this fight, and then say that the opponent wants to fight, and then 2 weeks later you guys are ripping at each other, you a bitch, you're ducking me, oh, you don't want the fight, then, what's actually going on? So, we talking about the face of boxing. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see anybody right now that you can actually say, this is the face of boxing, and this person is carrying boxing. This person is doing record numbers, like stuff that they're breaking Floyd's record. Okay, they're getting that type of attention and all that. Until they're doing that, you can't call somebody the face of boxing. Now, if you want to call somebody, you can. If you're talking about, interests of the public, like people who want to see who. Now, you got fighters that got country behind them. So you have fighters that can fight in their hometown. Well, if it's a pro Tank Davis crowd, yeah, they're gonna go nuts when he comes out and when he's in the ring. If it's a Canelo crowd, same thing. If it's a Nito Donaire crowd, same thing. So my thing is, who right now is in demand that people want to see? In my opinion, if it's such a necessity to call someone the face of boxing, I think we would base it off of that. Not only that, look at what they're doing in the sport right now. Let's just be real. Canelo is coming towards the end of his career. You got to look at guys like Tank Davis. You got to look at guys like Devin Haney. Because, look, Haney is the man at 135. And until Tank beats him, I can't say Tank's the man at 135. But the interest, the excitement, the who I want to see type mentality that most of the people have is it's Tank over Haney in that situation. But at the same time, Tank is talking about fighting Ryan, not the undisputed champion. And people, it makes more sense business-wise. Everything, so you see, everything is narrowed down to money, 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 money. And you see it. So, with all these fighters, Jamel Charlo, Alexander Usyk, Dimitri Bivol, all these guys that's out here that's doing what they're doing. I just look and I'm like, I don't really care about who they call the face of boxing. It's no big deal for me. I personally don't look at any of them like, who can I call the face of boxing? So this is not what I'm here to say to you guys about who I think the face of boxing is. I clearly felt it was Canelo at one point, yeah, because of what he was doing. Floyd Mayweather clearly was, and Floyd Mayweather still can come in here and make more money in an exhibition than these, undisputed champions, than these elite fighters right now. And so, when we're talking about face of boxing, this is what I'm saying. What criteria are you really looking at other than just commercial success? Because, to be perfectly honest with you, that's pretty much what they've been judging when they say the face of boxing, but the skill set that comes with it, okay? Because you don't become that big of a star and not be a good fighter. But I will say, even though I don't really care personally, for you guys that's still saying Canelo is the face of boxing, that's why I'm saying, what are you basing it on? Because performance-wise, he got his ass kicked and he looked horrible in the fight following up after that. So, just like, and he won, he lost one and he won his last one. Just like Anthony Joshua's stock has dropped. Why are we overlooking these undefeated fighters? Why are we overlooking these, undisputed champions who's out here, wanting to put the best fights on? Why are we overlooking these fighters that's in demand, that's, hey, I want to put my thumbprint on boxing? Why are we overlooking them and trying to hold on to who you want to be the face of boxing? I like the Las Vegas Raiders in football. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're the best team or even one of the best teams, because clearly they're not. I like the San Antonio Spurs in basketball. I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself and then tell you guys they're the best basketball. No, they're far from it. It's just as simple as that. You all this passion and, I mean, goddamn, y'all take this passionate fan shit too far. Y'all make it sound like it's a fucking occupation. Like this is your job. Like this is how you feed your family. No, you guys sit here and get high blood pressure and pull your hair out and curse and swear, yelling, walk around your house. I've seen videos of people smashing their TVs, punching a hole through the screen, kicking the TV off the step because the team that they like lost and all this dumb shit. So, nah, not that serious. I don't play for the Raiders. I don't play for the fucking Spurs. I don't really care that much, you know. So it's just being honest and being real. And I would like to think I'm talking to other grown adults and not a bunch of kids. So, yeah, I mean, let's just be real, man. All this face of boxing stuff. It's like I tell people, they're like, you an Anthony Joshua fan. No, I'm not anybody's fan. You're an Anthony Joshua fan. I just like Anthony Joshua more than I like the other heavyweights. And I would, hey, like to see the guy win. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. So when I don't speak about Anthony Joshua the same delusional way that you do, still calling him the best heavyweight, still saying he can still beat all the other heavyweights, I don't know that he can. You're saying he can. That makes me an Anthony Joshua hater because immature, ignorant, stupid people don't have the common sense or the class to understand. It's just reasoning. It's logic. It's reason. It's just understanding. How the fuck am I going to sit here and say he's still the best heavyweight? At one point, I felt he was. And that changed. So, me lying to myself just to lie to you, to make you feel good because you want to be able to still say he's the best, well, that's not going to happen with me. But at the end of the day, all this face of boxing talk is just like, who is it? Who is it? I mean, Jermell Charlo is undisputed. Tank Davis is like the hottest. He's like the hottest ticket in boxing right now. Let's just be real. Devin Haney is undisputed and highly skilled. Charlo is highly skilled. Tank Davis is highly skilled. Ryan Garcia has popularity, but he's yet to really get any real significant wins. Canelo's coming to the end of his career. And look, Alexander Usyk is unified. Tyson Fury has one belt. Okay, one. And people are still calling him the world champion. Well, he needs the other 3 belts to be the only champion. Usyk needs his belt. Why are we talking like Usyk is some up-and-comer, some new jack? Right? Even if you think that Fury will beat him, that's fine. If you think Usyk will beat Fury, that's fine. The whole point of what I'm saying is, one guy has 3 belts, one guy has 1. And you're calling one guy the world champion. That's so disrespectful, yet y'all have so much passion for boxing. When someone becomes an interim champion, that's pretty much a way of calling them mandatory, okay? And they're just holding a belt to get to the main belt. When you have a champion, one, okay? Like any other contact sport where there's no undisputed type stuff with all this multiple belts, but when that one champion is the champion, okay? That makes sense then. Because there's no diamond belt champion. There's no regular champ, all this other BS. There's no franchise champion, lineal champion, all this bullshit. It's just you. That belt you hold you are representing that weight class, that division. You're that man. You're that woman in that weight class. So because boxing has all these different belts, to be honest with you, I do not acknowledge any regular belt, diamond belt, silver belt, tiger belt, bullshit belt, garbage can belt. I do not acknowledge those belts. The only belts I acknowledge in boxing, okay, are the 4 major belts that you need to become undisputed. If you hold any title other than that, I don't even acknowledge it. I don't care about it. So, boxing, they handing these belts out, you're paying sanctioning fees, and your belt means nothing. If that belt Tank Davis had meant anything, people will be saying, I want to fight Tank because he's the champ. So even though he has a belt, right, nobody cares about his belt. It's as simple as that. So if you're not holding one of the four major, you're just holding some bullshit. You might as well make it skinny enough where it can go through your loops on your pants. You can hold your pants up, because that's all it is. That belt means nothing. And you pretty much have nothing better to do but pay sanctioning fees for a meaningless belt. Now, as far as the face of boxing goes, for me, I don't care. I don't really care who the fuck it is. But I'm saying, for me, when I'm looking at guys like Tank Davis and Devin Haney, you know, Dimitri Bivol, you know, when I'm looking at guys like that, you know, Jamel Charlo, I'm looking at undefeated champions who are hungry, who are putting it on the line, who are getting there and mixing it up, and they want the fights. I don't really care about immense popularity, because your popularity a lot of times is based on what you've done, not what you're still doing. And when you're a person that have a whole country behind you, it looks extremely impressive, especially when you can fight in America and have the majority of the building is filled with people from your country, even though you're in America. So even though you're in America, in a stadium, in a ring, wherever, in the arena, fighting against an American fighter or any other fighter, but the building goes nuts because you have a lot of people from your country in this country, shit like that. And people get caught up into yo, you see how many people was there? You hear how they erupted when he came out? Right. And then you go in there and have a poor performance. You lose, and there's excuses about why you lost. Even if not from you, from your fans, from your fanboys, shit like that. So, you know, I don't really know, and I really don't care personally. So, but I don't see how the fuck you call anybody the face of boxing when they're losing fights just because their commercial success is allowing them to put more seats and more asses in seats and to make more money. And then they're picking and choosing who they want to fight. At least for Anthony Joshua, I can say he doesn't even want tune-ups. But I understand why Eddie Hearn wants him to have some tune-ups. Anybody with common sense should know that. Because you go in there losing simply because you're not improving as a fighter. What have we been saying about Joseph Parker? And like he just hasn't gotten better from when we saw him and said, yo, you see the potential? And he was his former world heavyweight champion. And you just saw how he just never got better. And it's like his skills, it looked like his skills are declining. You know, he's not as fleet of foot as he used to be. You know, shit like that. So, you wouldn't think it would be smart and wise for them to try to, like, fine-tune Joseph Parker? That's any fighter. And I commend you if you say, hey, when I say tune-up, I'm not talking about fighting a Trevor Bryant. I'm not talking about trying to fight a fucking David Hay or David Price or some guy that, I'm not talking. A Jermaine Franklin, yes. A Dempsey McKean, yes. Somebody like that, yes. That's what I mean. Just someone who isn't as sharp as they could be, but they pose a danger to you where you still have to be sharp yourself, but you get to fine-tune these things against those particular opponents. So you get the confidence to do so. And then the fighter themselves will tell you, you know, I'm just trying to stay busy, trying to fine-tune just to get, you know, sharp. And that's all that is. Anthony Joshua has never taken an easy fight. Never. But guess what? To add to my point, you guys can't call him the face of boxing. Why? And he still has commercial success because we've seen him lose 2 straight fights to Alexander Usyk. Same thing goes for Canelo. Okay? Everybody has an opinion based on who they like. I do not call anybody the face of boxing right now. I just don't. It's not something I really say anyway. It's like I acknowledge when people are acknowledged as the face of boxing. But me personally, I don't crown anybody the face of boxing. Personally. But for me, it has to be someone that has winning ways, that is skillful, and that they're making it happen in that ring, regardless to how much commercial success they have. So, who do you guys look at as the face of boxing? Talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.